You know, in the construction world, we've been hearing the term BIM for years now, right? But the whole conversation around it is really starting to shift. What began as just a 3D model has, well, it's blown up into something way, way bigger. We're talking about a complete information-driven approach that's changing the game for the entire industry. So let's dive into that evolution.
We are so far beyond paper blueprints now. I mean, look at this. It's a perfect blend of the digital world and the physical one. But this isn't just a cool-looking graphic. It shows you exactly where the real value is today. It's in the data. The information that underpins every single brick, every beam, and every window of a project.
And you know, for a lot of folks, this whole journey really started picking up speed about 15 years ago. People saw this new thing called building information modeling and recognized it as this incredible new frontier for tech, especially in an industry that had been pretty analog for a long, long time.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with the early days of BIM, then look at how the standards grew up from local rules to a global thing. We'll get into this crucial idea of the golden thread, tackle the real-world challenges we're facing today, and then we'll peek into the future to see what's next.
So let's jump in our time machine for a second. In the very beginning, the promise of BIM was a lot simpler than it is today, but it was still totally revolutionary.
The first big idea was so powerful. Think of it like a full dress rehearsal for a massive Broadway show. Before you spent a single cent on steel or concrete, you could build the entire thing virtually. This gave teams this amazing 3D preview and let them coordinate their work in a way they just never could before.
Then, this brilliant idea got a huge shot in the arm in 2011. The UK government basically said, if you're doing a public project, you have to use BIM, and that mandate was a total catalyst. It forced the industry to adopt it quickly and really kicked off a massive wave of development.
So what was the big driver here, honestly? It was about money. The main goal was to find problems on a computer screen, not on the construction site. If you could spot where a pipe was going to clash with a steel beam in the digital model, you could avoid these incredibly expensive delays and rework when you were actually building.
But as BIM got more and more common, a new problem popped up. We needed clear, consistent rules for everybody. What started as a set of standards just for the UK was about to go global. And in that process, the very definition of what we were doing was about to change.
This timeline really tells the story. You see the 2011 mandate kicking things off. That led to the PAS 1192 standards, which created a kind of common language for BIM in the UK. But then, by the late 2010s, that local standard grew into ISO 19650, taking all those core ideas onto the world stage. And this is so important. It wasn't just a name change. This was a massive shift in thinking. The old PAS standards, they were all about BIM levels and just getting the building built. The new ISO framework, it redefined the entire goal as information management across the whole life of the asset, from the very first napkin sketch all the way to the day it gets knocked down.
And that brings us to this key definition: information management, or IM. That's the big picture. BIM, the 3D model we started with, it's just one piece of a much, much larger puzzle. A super valuable piece for sure, but still just one piece of all the data and documents that make up an asset's entire life story.
Now, this whole shift towards managing information for the long haul, it isn't just some abstract business idea. It has become a critical issue of public safety, and it's all captured in this really powerful concept, the golden thread.
The golden thread is exactly what it sounds like. It's this continuous, unbroken line of high-quality, totally reliable information. Everything from who designed the fire safety system to the last time it was inspected, it's all there. It's accessible and it's trustworthy for the entire life of the building.
And here's the thing. This is no longer just a best practice suggestion. In the UK, the Building Safety Act has made the golden thread a legal requirement for higher-risk buildings. This is an absolute game changer, because it directly connects good information management to keeping people safe.
Leading the charge in this new era is an organization called NEMA. You might have known them as the UK BIM Alliance, and their new name is just perfect. It actually comes from the Greek word for thread. Their whole mission is to champion this idea of a digital thread of information, using that ISO 19650 framework as the rulebook.
Okay, so we've got international standards and we've got a clear mandate for safety. Sounds great, right? But actually trying to implement this vision on a live project, well, that's where you run into some very real and very technical challenges.
So if you're a project manager trying to make all this happen, what's the single biggest thing that gets in your way?
For a lot of people, it really comes down to one major challenge.
Interoperability. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it's basically the challenge of getting all your different digital systems to talk to each other without losing or corrupting the data. To get around this, teams are focusing on two big things. First, setting up a common data environment, or a CDE, which acts as the single source of truth for all project info. And second, using open data formats like IFC, which are kind of like a universal language for software. Without a solid plan for this, your golden thread can turn into a tangled mess fast.
But here's why solving these challenges is so important. It's not just about making today's projects run a bit smoother. It's really about laying the groundwork for the truly mind-blowing technologies that are right around the corner.
It's a logical path to innovation. It all starts with that foundation of trustworthy, high-quality information. That's your golden thread. That foundation allows for seamless integration between all your systems. That's how we solve interoperability. And only when you have both of those things in place can you really unlock the power of game-changing tech like AI, the Internet of Things, and full-blown digital twins.
And that really brings us to the core takeaway from this whole journey. The technology is amazing, but it's just a tool. The real revolution here is a shift in mindset. It's about recognizing that information itself, when it's accurate, reliable, and accessible, is the single most valuable asset any project has.
So, I'm going to leave you with this question. As we move into an era where AI is going to analyze all our project data and digital twins will simulate a building's entire life, the quality of the information we create today is going to directly impact the performance and safety of the buildings of tomorrow. So, with that in mind, what is your data really worth?